Hey everyone, happy 4th month of Read Through the Word. Those of you that have been with us since January, we are thrilled to celebrate this day with you. Those of you that have just started, we are so glad that you're here with us. We have such a good time learning and sharing with each other. Today's reading was chocked full of so much. Did y'all just, this little section here, I'm going to tell you, I just laughed. 2 Samuel 19, 41 through 43. The bickering back and forth of who meant the most to King David and who was siding with him versus who was siding with Saul. And you had this undercurrent of discord between the tribes of Israel, which later will grow and they'll break off into a northern and a southern kingdom further on down the line. But oh my goodness, it's like these men are, bickering about that. You've got a revolt, you've got a wise woman coming in and straightening things out, and then you've got the lament of David here in verse 7 of somebody's talking about me, he says, basically. We're going to get to that in a second. And then, oh my goodness, I love chapter 21, 1 through 14, because of this. This gives me so much hope for evil. This was a discipline, a avenging of God's people that happened 400 years before David ever took the throne. David wasn't even born yet. Y'all, my hair's sticking up and it's getting on my nerves. There we go. David was not even born yet. And God remembered. And I love this because here's the thing. I really want God to exact discipline, to avenge evil that has been perpetrated on this world, the innocent. I want the evil punished. And here's the bad, ugly side of me. I want to see it. I want to see it. Do I want the people that have done something to me to pay? Yeah, I don't know. I guess the older I get, the less I care about stuff like that. And the less I care about just the grip of this world. But the innocent that have suffered. And it just seems like nothing is done. The courts of this world, our country, our nation are evil, corrupt. So the innocent very often gets away with their crime, or it's not even punishable by any stretch of the imagination. So there's just a real, raw side of me that just wants to stand on the sidelines and go, I want to see every bit of that. But we have the promise that God is going to take care of it, and we have to just leave it in His hands and just trust it and move on. Yeah, move on. So David says here in Psalm 7, starting with 14, the wicked conceive evil. I mean, it's like they are doing whatever they can to create it, to give it life. They become pregnant with trouble, is how David describes it. And anyone who has been pregnant or has seen someone pregnant, they know what conception and pregnant looks like, and gives birth to lies. They dig a deep pit to trap others. They fall into it themselves. The trouble they make for others backfires on them. The violence they plan fall on their own heads. Like I said, sometimes I really just want to stand on the sidelines and go, yes. David is being slandered. This is not the first time he's been slandered. If you have read with us at all through David's life, and you will read more of David's poetry and his songs as we kind of move into that in the coming days. Psalms and songs that he wrote that aren't necessarily dated. So I didn't write this Bible. The arrangers of the Bible didn't know where to put them. So they're not dated. So they're put all together. You will see that's this concept of slander. Basically, God, they're talking about me, from David. Again, I'm not making fun of David. I'm so glad that he gives me permission to go to God with everything that bothers me. That's what one of the main things I learned about David is that, okay, God cares about every little thing that concerns me. This psalm, at the beginning, it says a psalm of David, which he sang to the Lord concerning Cush of the tribe of Benjamin. A Benjaminite. Some say that this is actually Saul. It was like another name for Saul or a nickname for Saul. And then some say this is somebody completely different from the tribe of Benjamin. It really doesn't matter. I just thought I'd throw that one out there. Slander. Let's talk about slander. And the definition, slander is making a false verbal statement that damages someone's reputation. It's different than libel. Libel is when it's in print. Basically the same concept, but it's in print. Slander is when you're actually saying these things out loud about someone that is not true. The Bible has a lot to say about when we make false verbal statements that damage someone's reputation. God has something to say about slander. He has something to say about that. He actually equates it in many scriptures to gossip. I tried to make a clean line and just call out as much with the word slander in it as possible, but he really, scripture, when you look that up, there are lots of scripture that group slander and gossip in the same sentence. But I've put them here. I'm not going to read them, but they are a great reference. In fact, I think I've got lots of references today. Yes, lots of notes today for you. But I wanted to put this out there so we understand the seriousness that God places on slander and on what we are doing with our mouth. David, however, was not the slanderer. He was the slandered. And so I began looking around for godly articles, devotions, that kind of thing, that really help us grasp what do we do when we have been the slandered, when we're the ones on the other end of it, like David is. And so these concepts did not come from me. I'm putting it out there. They came from the full article is listed there on the Gospel Coalition website, 3 Ways to Respond When Slandered. The last bullet point there, work on living a blameless life, is mine. The first 3 points come from the 3 Ways to Respond. The 4th point is my point. Again, we don't need to dig too deep into these, but the bottom line is, and the article's great, I find Gospel Coalition a great and reputable resource. But the bottom line of the article is this. We need to be focusing on living that blameless life. That's why I created that point of my very own. We need to be focused on living that blameless life that really no one would even believe a slanderous statement about us because we are living a life above reproach. Will somebody who's jealous and envious of us and hurt by us because we got the job or we got the book deal or we got the speaking engagement or we got the teaching position or whatever it might be, we're the head of the PTA and they're the vice president of the PTA. Whatever it is, there's going to be periods where somebody's just upset with you and they might make things up. It's going to happen. But for the most part, our part is to live the best and blameless life that we can. We're going to be sinful. We are. But keep ourselves in check. So when things come up, they're like, yeah, I don't even believe that. I'm not even believing it. They might say it, but our reputation will speak for itself. I also really thought it was important to include a couple of verses, well, more than a couple, a few verses on the tongue and how powerful that is, and that we really need to allow the Lord to get a handle on that for us. Psalm 141:3 I placed in my notes where, and I love I think I used the NASB or maybe the ESV, where it's clear. You set a guard over my lips. You put a door over my mouth to keep me from saying things that I shouldn't say. So we submit our mouth, our tongue, to God, and that we would only say things that would edify and lift up others that are listening. And Paul actually speaks of that. I believe it's either Ephesians 4:29 or it's Philippians 4:29, but you could look at both of those verses, or 26. Speak on the things that are lovely and true. I believe that's Philippians. But yeah, we're not supposed to be giving birth to any kind of evil or trouble, or conceiving any of that, because it's going to give birth to lies. And God is just not a fan of lies. He's really not. So let's live above reproach as best that we can. And hopefully we won't be accused of slander. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.